we continue to have that mindset and we have growth that comes, the money has to come from somewhere to accommodate for the growth. And so I think we've kind of seen where, that equitable pattern has not occurred yet. So we have to sometimes, those of us that are taxpayers, say, I'm willing to pay. We need to not just pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah, I want
to say something.
Go ahead.
Also, just from a social construct in our community, the same comprehensive plan has predicted that by 2040, that the number or percentage of African Americans in our community will be reduced to something like 13 to 17% of the population. That
I think it's actually lower.
Sorry,
it's like
lower,
10 to 12%.
10 to 12, something ridiculous, but seems to be intentional. And I think that we need some term limits for folks who are serving that are not willing to allow new and fresh ideas and put in place opportunities for pipelines for younger people to participate. Young black professionals are not choosing to live in Greenville, and there is some reason for that. And somebody needs to have those tough conversations and ask why. One or two of us succeeding is not the whole community succeeding, and we certainly should be able to, at greater numbers, with all of the kind of growth that we have in this community.
Okay, that was 4. Thank you, Stacy. This is a second question. How can we create more conversations like this on a larger scale? So I think that's a backhanded nod to Mike and his creativity in pulling this together.
We're in July when it's not going to snow.
But I'd be curious what the panel thinks about that. How do we expand these kinds of conversations?
I think we could host more, and the Greenville Housing Fund is doing a great job with different sorts of forums. Ben Stacy's church has hosted things that just come at it from different angles, looking at, why do we have to clean up a site in an African American community that Duke Energy has ignored for many, many years when a similar site was cleaned up in a white neighborhood. And so how you come at these equitable conversations. Stacy's carrying a heavy load for our community. I just really want to give Stacy a shout out that it's not easy.
Did you want to add?
I was just going to say, echo that, nothing different, except we had a win today with Duke Energy. The president of Duke Energy was at Mountain View this morning for a discussion with the top brass of DHEC and CSX Railroad. We had a very fruitful conversation, and that was a win, and I'm so happy tonight that will make. Thrilled about that. But I think our churches have to own this. I don't think you can legislate people's hearts.
Wow.
I think that our minds and our hearts have to unite around what's common. We are people of faith, and to be courageous enough to reach out like you've done tonight, to have conversations across color lines and across denominations, to say that we are people, we are human beings, and we can stop this, and we can have conversations like this in places and invite others. And we've suspended our morning worship from time to time, and I'm so thankful that our church allows me to be a little bit creative, move the pulpit like this and set up chairs. And Jerry Blassingame from Soteria Corporation came and sat in a leather chair in front of the church on a Sunday morning to talk about reentry and expungement, things that are where people live. I think that's where the gospel really makes a change, and I think we have to dare to have conversations that are outside of the norm of what we think. Whatever it was we were doing is not working, so we have to re-engage and think about how we can do this and still honor the God code and his love for us as we extend that love to other people.
Wow, that was great. I don't think there's any question can follow up with that.
That's perfect.
We are right at 9 o'clock, and there's 4 or 5 more questions, so I think we'll have to table it from there. So with that, before Mike takes over, let me just personally thank all of you for participating in this panel, and you made my job much easier, and I am really thankful for that.
So we wanted to close tonight with a little video by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And while Hank is queuing that up, I'm thinking either Susan or Bo would be a great one to introduce the video before we watch it, and or Stacy, or who.
You got the mic.
Okay.
Why don't you tell us about this video? Don't take 3 minutes because the video is only 3. But what are we about to see here?
Well, I think it was Partnership for Philanthropy in Greenville made this application to the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And Robert Wood Johnson Foundation gives
With
out awards
inviting
every
outdoor
year.
spaces and a revitalized urban center, Greenville.
There we go. It makes an assessment of communities across the country to identify innovative ways in which communities are trying to move forward. And we were very, very fortunate enough to win this award. I'm sorry? 1 of 5. Thank you. Is that right? 1 of 5?
Like there were over 300, I think, out there. Nationwide.
So 300 applications, 5 are net finalists, and we were one of the 5 finalists. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
We being Greenville.
Greenville City, the whole area, Greenville area. So now I've butchered the introduction. Let's see the video.
With inviting outdoor spaces and a revitalized urban center, Greenville County, South Carolina is experiencing a tremendous boom in both business and population. But there is another side to the story, including growing income disparity and displacement of long-term residents. To address these challenges, public and private partners are embracing a broad vision for an inclusive culture of health, working together to ensure that every resident will be able to enjoy all that the county has to offer.
It's a very vibrant community. Our role is to make sure that it's equitable and that it's accessible for all people.
So you're seeing a lot more activism and people reaching out to their neighbors. That's a powerful and necessary thing.
Housing is critically important to the dignity of a community. We purchased 25 lots to include the property where the church sits that will be housing that's affordable for working class people in a community where that's not always the case. Unity Park is right in the middle of the Black community. And so when you have a multi-million-dollar development, how do we make the growth and the accessibility equitable?
I told City Council, listen here, y'all, we do not want Greenville to be a gated community. And we asked that they would donate some of the property around the park for affordable houses. So we're moving forward, bringing people back to the neighborhood.
One of our biggest problems is transportation.
Finally, we have had community leaders, business leaders, governmental leaders come together and say, we got to do something better.
Good mass transit is critical to the growth of our area.
Now Greenland has made a whole lot of changes, which will let more people have access to health and opportunity.
The Swamp Rabbit Trail was the collaboration of our county and city working together to create a trailway for walking and biking.
It has just transformed communities.
We have over 20,000 job vacancies.
Our chamber saw that there was a great pool of people who needed to work.
There were barriers to them getting employment. One of those barriers was criminal records.
And so we decided to go forth and push the Workforce Expansion Act, where people with felony drug convictions are able to get their record expunged where they can get into the workforce. And it's working.
On Track Greenville is a partnership of community organizations that put students at the center.
During the pilot, we saw an improvement of our chronic absent students, and we saw academics improve. I believe it's due to a lot of the pieces that we implemented.
The greatest strength of Greenville is its willingness to look at itself and to say, we believe we can change.
We have Cindy Henry in the back with Homes of Hope display, and this is one of the Housing First initiatives that's happening in Greenville. It would be good for you to stop by that table. Pardon me? Church Street Place. I may have said that wrong. Church Street Place, and she can talk to you about that ministry. It's another place to plug in and another place to be part of a solution. I've asked Stacy and Greg tonight to close us in prayer. After they have done so, you're welcome to stick around and mingle. If you're night owls, there might be conversations that just continue here for a little while. You're welcome to do that. But thank you for being here tonight, and thanks again to our panel, and especially to Greg and his band for their bringing us this evening.
Let's bow together. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this space, this opportunity to expand our streams of consciousness that would be inclusive of others. We thank you for a rare moment on a snowy afternoon to listen to good music and to have our hearts challenged to believe for better. We ask, Lord, that you would secure us in your unfailing love, wrapped in your arms that are so strong that you can overcome the greatest evils